Racism rushes backfire. Meghan was out of her mind when she dragged Charles into the business of lying about Archie's skin color. In the past, Meghan has said that if the identity of the person who made that comment about Archie's skin color was revealed, it would be very damaging to them. And today, a new book is claiming that King Charles himself was the one who made comments about an unborn Archie's skin color. Pretty interesting that now it's Charles, when she said it was Camilla and then the Queen and then somebody else. I do not believe that anybody said anything. This is just another one of Meghan's little schemes. She came into the royal family with very dirty hands. She had an agenda, and she was not going to stop until she became the Queen. And of course, that is never going to happen. First, Meghan told so many lies in that interview. She made everybody think that the question was asked while she was pregnant with Archie. Now, actually, the comment was supposed to have been made, if it was made at all, before they even got married. It could have been something as simple as, "I wonder what your kids are going to look like." To a less sensitive, "You know your kids could be dark, right?" Maybe they were adding that to the list of the many reasons that Harry might want to reconsider marrying Meghan. From what I understand, nobody in the family wanted Harry to marry Meghan, and it had nothing to do with the color of her skin, but instead because she was an American, and she had no idea what would be expected of her as the wife of a prince in the male line of succession. They foresaw that that could lead to so many problems that would eventually cause the breakdown of the marriage. And then, all of a sudden, earlier this year, Harry came out and said that, in fact, nobody made any racist comments, and that neither he nor Meghan even said or implied that they did, and it was all made up by the media. So perhaps somebody should inform Harry that if you want to be a good liar, you need to have a very good memory. Since Bear came out and since Harry did all those interviews, I am convinced that it was Harry who made any comments about the color of his future children's skin. Harry has already said that his marriage to Meghan would mean that his kids would inherit her darker features, meaning they wouldn't be ginger like him, but then later on, of course, he said that the kids are in fact ginger. Nasty things were said about Camilla and Diana and Catherine. Why Meghan and Harry believed that she was so special that she would escape scrutiny, I do not understand. Meghan couldn't handle the scrutiny, though. She was way too weak. And now the name of Meghan Markle is way down in the sewer. And things are only going to get worse for Meghan because it seems like she is all disoriented. She's so deep underground that she doesn't even know which way is up. Meghan dragged Harry's name down with her, and unfortunately he's also lost deep down in the sewer along with Meghan Markle. The fact is, even if that comment were really said, there are so many biracial families who have made similar comments because people are curious. Non-biracial families do it as well. Like, do you think he's going to have his father's hair? Do you think he's going to have his mama's nose? Is he going to get his grandmother's blue eyes, or is he going to get his grandfather's brown eyes? It's not a big deal, except, of course, those grifters want to turn everything into a negative because that's going to earn them some money and some PR attention. The comment was only to Harry before they even got married, when Archie was simply a twinkle in someone's eye. It was probably just an innocent bit of conjecture. There are many people from mixed-race families who have confirmed it's a common thing to wonder who the kids are going to take after. It's just as common as wondering about eyes and noses and legs and hair texture, all that stuff. And let's remember that Meghan has changed skin color since she arrived. Now, at first, she was white, and now she looks brown. She adds so much bronzer to her skin. And it's ridiculous because we can all see what color everybody is. You don't need to label it all the time. I don't see anything wrong with wondering what the baby's skin color would turn out to be. Anyone would. It's a very normal thing. Just like parents with differently colored hair are going to wonder what color hair the child will turn out to have. There's nothing racist about it, and the people who see racism in the comments are the people who see prejudice everywhere they look when it's not there. Probably because they're secretly racist themselves, so it's always on their minds. Clearly, anybody would wonder about it, but they just aren't going to say it. Why is everybody so scared to see things as they really are? I do not believe that simple curiosity is racist. Instead, it suggests to me that people who object are actually facing some racism in themselves, and they're just too scared to admit it. Let's have some honesty and transparency for a change. Now, brown is a color, it's not a criticism. People spend so much time almost naked in the sun trying to achieve a nice tan. So if it's such a bad thing to be brown, how do you explain all those people? Furthermore, I don't believe this is going to hurt Charles one bit. Charles hasn't led a perfect life, sure, but still, he's led a pretty good one. And what this proven liar says is not going to do anything to affect his position in any way, shape, or form. Meghan's attempt at sabotage is going to fall flat. It's going to blow up in her face, actually. And she's going to end up being ostracized from the family just for trying it. Meghan has an overinflated sense of self. She believes that she is so important, but she's not. Meghan has ruined her own life in her attempts to ruin other people's lives. It doesn't matter who Meghan tries to blame, it's not going to be damaging. She heard the supposed skin color story secondhand from Harry after all, and their stories have never matched. Even in that Oprah interview, the stories didn't match. Harry could have misunderstood, it does seem like he misunderstands stuff a lot, or maybe he was just trying to stir the pot. He's also known for doing that. But it doesn't really matter in the end. People are sick and tired of this story, and nobody cares anymore if they ever did. I would probably have a little bit more respect for Meghan if she would show us some non-photoshopped photos of their supposed children. Anything Meghan says is a big fat lie, and nobody is going to believe that King Charles said anything bad about race. Well, at least I don't, and I don't care about what Meghan has to say on the subject. The reality is, we have no idea if and when this was said, and by whom, and in what contexts. There are so many mixed-race couples out there who have said this came up in natural discussions with their own families when they were pregnant. And people didn't say it to be mean or to act ugly or racist. Instead, it was just saying stuff like, I wonder who the kid is going to look like. It's a very normal thing for people to talk about when somebody in the family is pregnant, even in families that are not of mixed race. I remember before my nephew was born, we talked about that a lot with my sister. Now, her husband is not even of a different race. And Meghan tried to say this is why the child was not offered a title, in spite of the fact that he was actually offered Earl of Dumbarton. But Meghan didn't want that because it had the word dumb within the title. William's children were given prince and princess titles from the time they were born, but this was not normal. This was the exception instead of the rule. There was no other great-grandchild who received a title when they were born, which is how it normally is. It was just that the late queen had such a long reign that this time it did happen. And since Charles became king, the grandchildren are entitled to the prince and princess titles, which Harry and Meghan grabbed up as soon as they possibly could. They also claimed the skin color issue was the real reason that he wouldn't be given security, in spite of the fact that so many members of the family are not given 24/7 security. They're only given security when they're carrying out official royal duties. And the rest of the family, as usual, have just maintained their dignified silence on this matter. Security is actually not something they can control. It's for the Home Office to decide and the police to decide, and it is based on a few risk factors. So unless the mysterious person who said this admits that they said it, and in what context, which is probably not going to happen at this point, I'm not going to believe that it happened. Or if it did, I do not believe that it happened the way that they said it did, and we already know that it had no bearing whatsoever on titles and security or lack thereof. So I don't believe this is going to have any bad effect on the king any more than it already has. People who believe this story are just going to shake their heads and say, oh yeah, I knew it. And the people who do not believe it are just going to keep on not believing it. And you, do you agree with me? If yes, don't be afraid to like and share this video with anybody else who needs it. And if not, please tell me the reason why, and we can also talk about this couple. And don't be afraid to click the subscribe button to get more updates in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in, have a lovely weekend, and we'll be back to see you all tomorrow.